Hey, yo, beautiful souls. Welcome or welcome back. Oh, we have so much to talk about. Oh my gosh. I just did a video. It was 30 minutes long. I have no idea. I do, but I don't. We are talking about empowerment, spiritual protection in the physical realm and the astral realms. All of the realms. All right? So let's ground ourselves. All right? Let me get some things here because I'm gonna do some things. Okay? So we're gonna breathe because breathing is part of it. Inhaling. Yes, things might feel like they're a little insane, but guess what? I've earned it. I own my delulu, my cray-cray, and my insanity. And I am completely and fully activated and empowered, and I'm here to remind you how to do that. But I'm also here to give you some tools from a place of this empowerment, this grounded perspective. Do you hear grounding? That's part of it. All right, and to call your power back, to stand in your power, to protect yourself energetically. You can use some physical tools, you can use some visuals, you can use frequency, energy, light, color, all of it. And I'm going to 111 on the timer give you a few of these. Hopefully I don't forget. And if you have any, perfect. But you're doing this from a place of power and empowerment and not from a place of fear. It's just like a little extra protection, especially around full moons and new moons. And yes, we're in this full moon portal. It is April 30th. Excuse me, 2026. But all videos are timeless, no time, no space. So I would highly recommend, which reminds me I'm going to make some moon water. Thank you, team. I'm going to give you some tools. I'll give you some verbal stuff, some physical stuff, to protect yourself. So we're going to inhale and we're going to exhale. So what I want you to do is imagine from the bottom of your heart, I want you to place your hand on your heart and breathe into your heart space for 3 times. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So inhale, exhale. So using your breath, you can imagine bringing in light and love, and you can pick a frequency, a color. And as you do, ask this light to bathe your entire field, your physical field, your energetic field. And when you exhale, imagine darkness, gray, smoke, blow it out. There's one easy step, grounding and breathing. So you're going to take this energy and imagine that there are tree roots growing from the bottom of your heart. And what they are doing is they are going down through all of your chakra systems, down your solar plexus, your sacral, aka your hara chakra, and your root chakra. There's a chakra between your knees, and then down into your earth star chakra, was, I don't know, 6 or 12 feet below your feet. And imagine that you are literally like a tree, a very massive ancient tree. This is your pillar. We're setting your pillar up, okay? It's a great way to start a protection video, okay? All right, so you're going to ground down, 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 and imagine that your roots are spreading into the crystalline grid of Gaia, and you spread your roots, so you anchor that. But then you take a few roots, and then you ground them even further, and you wrap them counterclockwise around Gaia's crystalline heart, and you give it a little energetic tug. And now you're going to bring that energy, all of that beautiful light, love, frequency, and energy, all the way up your pillar, not just your physical body. Okay, many layers, like let's say your human body's inside of this massive tree. So picture that. I like that visual. And you're going to inhale this frequency, this energy, all the way up through all of your chakra systems, all of your interpersonal chakras, all of those things that you've got that you don't know. And you're going to bring it all the way up, 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 all the way up through all of your upper chakras, all the way up to your divine gateway chakra, many, many feet above you. All right, and you directly connect to source, the universe, creator, mother and father, God, whatever word you like to use. So this prime creator, okay? And then what you're going to do is bring prime creator, source energy, all the way down your chakra, or all the way down. And what I like to use is I sometimes I do this up and down, this flowy type wave where it's going up and down simultaneously, or I do this, I visualize this frequency and energy coming through, clearing and purifying, and then I'll take it in the other direction all the way up. So when I'm in meditation, I usually try to set my pillar up. All right, so just breathe into that, okay? And if you feel dizzy, you don't have to use that. I just like that particular, I use this type of flow up and down and all the way around, or like I said, all the way around. Okay? That's a great way just to get you set up for grounding. If you're feeling mentally unstable, you're struggling, you're having some issues, just close your eyes and just 3 to 10 breaths, whatever. I can go pretty quickly, 5-1-5 in the timer into this, but it takes some practice. Everything takes practice, just like working out, nutrition, anything that you're unplugging from, that you've been so programmed and conditioned, and you go over to something new. It is a form of, it's a practice. And once, just like fitness, it becomes, I don't want to say automatic, because you're still very conscious as, oh, my ears, thank you, team. Right hand, both ears, frequency tuning. It's like, it is a practice, but once you become aware, it becomes more natural. You learn to just pause, close your eyes, and breathe before you drink your coffee, or before you get out of bed, or whatever it is, okay? All right, so we're gonna give you some tools. Tools are important, just like in the fitness industry. And I understand more and more, especially the video that, and again, I'll try to post this video. Highly recommend taking time to listen to it, because these are things I've talked about in many ways, shapes, or forms during my awakening process in this past 18 months. I started hitting record in November, so you didn't hear all that stuff before that. But up until, you know, everything that I've kind of gone through here and there, I've got so much like to talk about. But even when I was doing health and wellness stuff, it's all very interconnected, as we are all interconnected, okay? So you might be feeling the collective frequency, your own frequency. If you have a twin soul connection, there might be something there. So the biggest thing is setting this pillar up. And if you're having different thoughts or feelings, intrusive thoughts, which can happen, I had this experience. I didn't know what it was, per an entity that was attached to me still. Early on in my awakening process, that created distractions and confusion, and I wasn't able to discern fully. But I know now the power of my soul, that even in those mini distractions and confusions, my soul still is so powerful that she pulled me out of any fog that I was still kind of walking through, if that makes any sense. Again, there's another video that I'll probably have to do about that. All right, so setting up your pillar, sit down and just pause and say, is this my thought? Is this the collective? Because I have felt collective energy. I know what it feels like now. And then sometimes I'll check in with my partner. I'm like, hey, is there something you've been thinking about? Like, so if you get intrusive thoughts, or like maybe you've cut people out of your life, but you're like, all of a sudden you start thinking about them, or you have this like vicious like cycle of like, what the fuck? They could be projecting knowingly or unknowingly because they're thinking about you. You know, maybe you had to leave a toxic relationship. I don't care what that was, a partnership, a family dynamic, a work relationship. They could be like, these intrusive thoughts could be coming or being projected from them, okay? So you just call your power back. I call my power back from people, places, and things. Timelines, dimensions, spaces, places, portals, and realms, known and unknown, seen and unseen. You do not have permission to my vitality. You do not have permission to my frequency or my energy. I call my power back now. Write that down. Repeat it. So if you start having these intrusive thoughts and you're like, I don't think these are mine, do that, and it will clear the space really quick. The other thing you can do in those moments when you pause and you don't instantly react to that is ask your higher self, is this mine? Is this something I need to know? Is this important? And your higher self, your soul, will let you know pretty quickly. Okay. You can bring in, again, source energy to help clear the space. So source, please come in. Team members, please come in and help clear out these intrusive thoughts, especially if they're not mine. If there's something that I'm meant to know, to see, to hear, to feel, please let me know through discernment, full-blown discernment, and in ways I can't deny it. So again, there's many ways you can clear intrusive thoughts, patterns, all of these things. And that's just a quick, easy, intentional, mental way you can work with frequency and energy and your sacred technology. And I highly recommend, if it's strong, you speak it firm and empowered. You stand from a place of empowerment. And we've been using this this analogy or this way of, you can picture yourself standing on the top of a mountain and you are connected to the power of the mountain, and you speak from that place of empowerment, grounded, sturdy, yeah, don't fuck with me type of energy. You could stand and imagine that you are this ancient, powerful tree. Same thing. So imagine that you are a really big, because you are, instead of this tiny little human. Place your energy and frequency and connect to the nature and elements. Grounding is very important right now. You need to have grounding practices every single day. And I have grounding elements in my home. I'm actually going to grab a couple here. I'm going to show you. We're going to take a little walk. Okay. All right. I have a lot of nature elements. So that's a way to keep things grounded in your home and protection in your home. So animals will help you transmute energy and frequency attacks. Plants will help transmute energy and frequency attacks. If your plant dies, it took a hit for you. If your animal gets sick or tired or exhausted, took a hit, okay? Another way you can do is ground in nature. So I live in a ground level apartment. There's no coincidence that Sources had me in a ground level apartment for 11 years. There's no coincidences there. I understand that now. I didn't understand that then. I do now. Now I understand why all my beautiful plants. I have rocks and stones. I have sticks. I have feathers. I have crystals, right? In my home. I have stuff from the ocean. All right. I have a lot of elementals. I have pine cones. I have elementals in my homes. Okay. So that can be a helpful tool as a form of grounding, bringing grounding energy, Gaia energy, nature energy, elemental energy in your home. That will help you, and talk to the nature elements. They will help, okay? Crystals can also be very helpful. Tourmaline. Sorry, that's hematite. This is hematite. Tourmaline, okay? These are things that can help you cleanse and clear and use as forms of energetic protections. But again, the biggest thing is intention. Intention is here, huge. Intention is a huge, huge thing. So the other thing you can do, again, you're doing everything from a place, sorry, I'm off camera. So you should do everything from a place of power and empowerment and not from fear. So you already know you're protected, especially if you're part of the Starseed program. Guaranteed you have been protected your entire life. But when you wake up, new levels, new devils, you become activated, you become elevated, you are turning on more and more. Your light is getting shinier and shinier and brighter and stronger. All of us are turning on and activating. And when we fully on, the archons, the dark entities, will no longer have a place to exist, because the vibration and frequency of this planet will not be sustainable for them, right? They become, I heard this analogy, and again, you'll hear it in the video if you watch it, you become the predator, not the prey. In a lot of our lives, we've been the prey and not the predators, but we had no idea that we've been preyed on and attacked in many ways. And I didn't know, so oblivious to this, as most of us are. But as we move forward, we awakened, gone through it. Now we're here to educate, to mentor, to teach, to share our experiences and what we use and what our tools are. So what are my tools? Nature elements. Unknowingly, my entire life, I've been collecting, and especially in this space, I have a lot of nature elements. Not only am I underground, right? I'm underground. I sleep with my head underground. I have a lot of animal spirits that protect me. I have a lot of trees that protect me outside of my space. All right. I keep nature sounds on. Okay. I do a lot to clear this energetic space, and there are not many people that are allowed in this space. But when they step into this space, they know that there's an energy shift. There's a frequency shift from when they step into this space, especially they feel a very grounding energy where there's no fucking surprise why. But I also energetically keep a very high frequency in the space. So if anything tried to penetrate, it's usually more of a mild attack versus 1444 on the timer than something invasive. So we can smudge, use candles, frequency and energy. You can get a frequency machine, play high frequency music, play high frequency sounds, Salgafio frequencies, Mozart in your space. You can use sage, which is this. I usually smudge with Palo Santo or sage, or when we do burning incense. And what I do, I don't do it always, and I do it when I'm called to. I've been working with this. My ancestors in my soul have had me doing this before I even know why I was doing this. Does that resonate? Working with herbs, working with plants, working with spiritual cleansing tools. Right? So I will go around. I don't do it every day. I do it when I'm called to, especially around moons, full moons. We're in this full moon energy. Attacks can be increased. You might be feeling more attacked. But again, if you're feeling more attacked, are you falling into fear or power? Are these bringing up shadow aspects that you need to work on? Because a lot of the second wavers are starting to like feel really, really attacked. But what I think is also happening, honestly, is that they're being called to clean their house. They're being called to do the healing, right? And that's important, because when you've cleared and healed all of your trauma, your hurt and your pain to a degree, you've integrated your shadow, you've gone through many dark nights of the soul, you've gone through many death and rebirths. When you do that, you become more and more untouchable and unfuckable with. And you need to know that. And I'm here to remind you of that. So sometimes, yes, I will go around and I'll smudge and I'll bring some light languages. Sometimes I'll speak the light language. And sometimes I will have mental telepathic intentions as well. I cleanse, bless, and purify this space. I cleanse, bless, and purify this space. I call in the golden white light of source energy to blast through anything that is not allowed to be in here. No dark entities, energies, thought forms, right? Anything like that is allowed in the space. And if it tries, it is returned to source to be transmuted into unconditional love. It is returned to Gaia to be recycled back into unconditional love and light. We aren't doing return to sender. We're not doing any of that. We're allowing you to set up your power and protection through a place of empowerment and not fear. And you are just calling in assistance. So that's why your team is there. That's why source is there. Call in for these extra assistants. Tap into the frequency and the energy of your crystals. They're an innate intelligence. They hold power and wisdom, knowledge. So I sleep with these either in next to me. I meditate with them. All of my crystals are in my windowsill, which is above my head. Sometimes I'll place it on my tech. All right, so I call in the frequency and the energy of the black tourmaline for this extra protection. You can wear the colors too. Black absorbs negative energy. Hence why a lot of these are dark. I also, last year when I had that entity removed that was had been attached since childhood, I don't think that was last video, I was guided to put black tourmaline, hematite, this is tourmaline, hematite in all the four corners at the bottom of my bed. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to put it in the four corners of my sheet. So I have black hematite, and I've been wearing more black hematite. Again, this is rainbow selenite. All right, so you could be called to be working with crystals. Maybe you already work with crystals, but now I've had the crystals, but now I know what I've been doing, and now I can just, from a place of empowerment, now I can even just create a stronger field. All right. And again, when you wake up, before you go into spaces, you can intend to clear a space through thought and intention. Set up this field, but you know that you're already energetically protected and shielded. And it's also really good to do this before you go to sleep, because a lot of these attacks will happen in the astral realms, while you're asleep. And again, before you go to bed, imagine yourself in this beautiful crystalline, I use rainbow frequency, crystalline rainbow bubble. All right, then I also have a crystalline pyramid, and sometimes around moons, I will call in my dragon guides, Sophia, and any other dragon guides. I call in my archangels to boundary up. So, and I do it from a place of empowerment and not fear, okay? Because I already know that. But I also will do this around family members, like my inner circle, like my partner, because he's so far away and he doesn't do this. So I will set up a protection grid around him. And this is all mentally and through either meditative state or just in full stillness and awareness. And I'll do this around my kids and my kids' family. And then my son's father, that's like my inner circle. I will do the same thing. I will call their guides, their angels in, their dragon guides. And I use dragon energy because they are protectors. And I call them the celestial dragons and all beings of unconditional love and light. Be direct about that because you don't want to invite anything else in. All right, and just know that you are protected in the dream state. And if you feel like you're attacked, sit with that. Ask your highest, what is this about? What do I need to know? And yes, sometimes some things might be allowed to get through, but they're like completely reduced. So let's say someone sent you death magic. I just hate to use that. Someone sent you black death magic toward you and you stub your toe or you break something, you drop something, you break it. Okay. So, but it's just, again, what is that teaching you? Right? Remember, what you go through, you grow through, you became more empowered and powerful. You're pulling your power back, you're calling your power back. And I would always say in anything I do meditation wise, 2101 on the timer, and even when I work with people with Reiki, I intend, and I also ask the client when they're done, make sure you intend that anything that you're doing is also happening to all aspects of self across all timelines, dimensions, spaces, places, portals, and realms, known and unknown. So this is also giving protection to your other aspects, to your other versions of yourself in other timelines, dimensions, spaces, places, portals, and realms. This protection or this meditation or this frequency or this sound bath. So anytime I'm doing like Reiki, I'm asking same thing. I intend this to transfer all across all timelines, dimensions, all across all timelines, dimensions, spaces, places, portals, and realms, known and unknown, seen and unseen. I call my power back from people, places, and things, timelines, dimensions, spaces, places, portals, and realms, known and unknown, seen and unseen. These are very powerful statements. And when you learn to embody these and speak these with authority and conviction from this very powerful energy that you are, you will see things shift and change. You will see that if you feel like you've been energetically attacked, psychically attacked, or physically attacked, because invasions of the body snatcher, if somebody if someone is at a low enough vibration that is in your energetic field that you've allowed to continue to be in your field, and they're at a low enough vibration, they can have if you've got an energy that's been trying to attack you entire life or lifetimes, we'll use a vessel. Use your discernment. But yes, people in your life could potentially be used as vessels. I don't like to throw the word NPCs out there, but yes, you have to have knowledge and wisdom power. When you have the knowledge and you have the wisdom, it is very empowering. But you do it from a place of there and not of fear. You do it from a place of awareness and acknowledgement, all right, and not this place of fear. All right, so when you kind of look back, you're like, oh, that person could have potentially been a host, basically, to these parasitic entities, energies, thought forms, and then you could go into people that are dealing with implants, etheric implants, physical implants. That's a whole nother topic. I'm not greatly versed on, but I can really talk about the energies, the entities, the thought forms, the parasitic attachments. For sure, I can talk about these things, okay? Because I've experienced them. And most of us have probably had energetic implants or etheric implants. That's why we did our I am statement the other day about revoking all contracts and all of that hooks and back doors and all of this bullshit that it's been happening for the longest. But now everything's starting to return to, as I just got a whole completely like visual. Oh, thank you, team. It's been happening for the longest, but we're here to shift that, to change that. And we have been doing that, whether you realize it or not. But the more empowered you become, the more knowledge you become, the more wisdom you gain, the stronger you become, and the more untouchable and unfuckable you become, right? They can't get close to you. Your light is so bright it burns them. They won't want to come near you. Okay? And so if you're still in this low vibrational state, you become susceptible. You become open to be to have to figure out what's going on. And how do you do that? You stand in your authenticity, you speak your truth, you do the healing work, you address the trauma, you integrate the shadows, you rest, you slow down, you learn to meditate, and you learn to ground. And then you can use these tools: smudging, light intention, frequency intention, sound intention. Again, if you like sound bed therapy or sound bowl therapy, when you not only physically vibrate at a higher frequency, but using these therapies will help shake these things off or kick them out. But again, if you're doing this and it's like, all right, I'm doing a sound bed therapy, but I'm still going back to shitty eating, I'm still connected to the matrix, left ear toning as confirmation. So you can have these practices, you can go to these classes, but if you don't shift anything in your reality, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, if you don't do the work, and you go back to the programming, the conditioning, listening to the news, doing all the bullshit, it doesn't work. You might do it and you still leave yourself open and susceptible. You want to build a strong field, right? A high frequency field. And you do this through a place of empowerment, knowledge, and wisdom. And you can use tools like plants and like sage and like smudges and like crystals and like elementals and grounding. So the biggest thing you can discharge a lot of times is get barefoot and stand in the dirt. Put your hands in the dirt, sit against a tree, hug a tree, honey. Put your third eye on a tree and give the tree a hug. And walk barefoot, walks in nature, breathe into nature, get time in nature, backpack, get into the lakes, get into the oceans. These are going to discharge all of this bullshit, darkness, energies, and thought forms. But again, it also puts you in a place of stillness and connection with nature and Gaia and source. And the deeper you are connected to that, you are deeply more connected to yourself, right? And this is an inside job, right? These are just tools that we've been so disconnected from for such a long time. All right. So I think that's it. We're about 30 minutes in. Again, like I said, this is a huge thing. I could talk for, I'd probably do a 2-hour talk on this and maybe still forget to talk about something. It's all perfect. So again, if you have any comments or questions, a friend of mine made a great suggestion a few weeks ago. If you don't hug a tree, like before you come home, if you already set your home up energetically, ground before you go into your home. All right, put your feet in the dirt, hug a tree before you go into home, grab a stick, put it into the ground. All right. If it's in the summer and you don't want to walk barefoot, another beautiful soul, take a stick, because this is going to be your rod. Walk. This will ground your energy. It's hard to do when you're in the winter, but walking stick. So you're taking your energy and you're grounding everything down. If you don't want to walk barefoot, if it's a struggle and you have to have shoes on, use a stick. That'll help transfer anything that needs to be transmuted or released via the stick. Okay, so these are just some tips and tricks and some tools using the elemental kingdom, using thought, intention, frequency, sound frequency, energy, intentional light, like bring in the light, bring in universal light, God's source light energy in. Color therapy is also very beneficial. Okay, and again, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Okay. And again, I always intend that those that are meant to receive this will receive this in perfect timing. And it is always for your highest and best good, right? It's through divine light, divine love, divine truth, divine wisdom, divine knowledge, divine power and empowerment, and divine remembrance. I'm here to remind you of your power, of who you are. All right? I'm here to share the frequency, the energy, the quantum medicine, and the quantum magic. Because remember, I'm not just speaking human words. You're receiving frequency and energy. You're receiving codes and activations. All right? Know this. I love you from the bottom of my heart. I am you, you are me, and we are we. And we've got this. And the reason things are picking up is because we are getting really, really close to mass, critical mass, which means enough of us will be activated and elevated and holding a high vibrational frequency stable. We hold it stable. We're not dipping up and down. We're holding the stable frequency that the first waivers are going to be turned fully on and get fully integrated. And when that happens, then you have the 100 monkey effect happen. And now it triggers a field reaction to the other collective. They don't want us to wake up. because once we wake up, enough of us hold our frequency, we maintain it, they have nothing to feed off of, and our energy and our light becomes so bright that they aren't able to stay here. This has always been about a frequency war and a war on consciousness. And a lot of it's been taking place in the unknown and the unseen. When you understand that more and more, it becomes very empowering. Okay? I love you. I'll see you soon. Bye.